Hello ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming to see what automation can do for you, for the future and the future of your children. My name is Paul Strache. I'm a term 2 here at Automation, where we have studied Arduino, a small bird, a programming type of thing that is smaller, more and less complex than a motherboard programming. Very easy, very simple type of coding. My project is S.C.A.R.E, a fully automated, moving, screaming scarecrow. You can see him sitting right over there. Now my motivation behind it is I really love animals and I love to scare people. So I thought, how can I put these two things together? So I have developed Mr. S.C.A.R.E. So farmers can then use this to protect their wild animals, to protect their crops and their families and their livestock from dangerous predators and intruders. Now, problem statement. The main animal deterrence doesn't work 100%. Animals are beginning to get smarter and is hopping the fence and is getting into our food, getting smarter and bolder and braver. So what type of, except for my scarecrow, what other solutions are there for animals? The first one was to deploy a guard to stand watch over the crops, but that costs money. And we don't have a lot of money, we humble farmers. Second option is kill them all. But then, what would our grandchildren hunt in the future? Think of the children. Then the third option is let the animals eat everything. But then what would our grandchildren eat then to stay alive? Think of the children, I like to say.
Real politician.
Yeah, well. Viva A.C.E. Project description. Now my project can be used by farmers 24 hours a day. The project will be hooked up to a solar system to constantly keep a given power in the field when it's on duty. The project is basically like a guard that you don't have to pay weekly. So win-win. When an animal walks by the sensor will activate and pick up the animal. The rotator on top will start moving the object, move the ACE, and it will emit a horrifying scream, which range into gunshots, a woman that screams, a man that screams, a ghost crying, a baby crying, a demon's horror, and a werewolf's cry. And every time, if the first track doesn't work and the animal's still dead, it will constantly switch to the next track, until it finds a track that will scare the bejesus out of the animal or the intruder. Project research, or background research. Now I have discovered two similar projects like Yangan from South Africa, which cost $32,000, $33,000 if you want sensors with. And I was thinking, this could be a solution to the animals, but we all don't drive Ferrari tractors. What about the humble farmer that doesn't make a lot of money, that can afford something like that? So I was thinking, how can I make this cheaper? For the regular farmer that just works to put food on the table, that doesn't drive a diamond crusted tractor. So I was thinking, I can make this cheaper. Now then, a second version of this that I've discovered was the Demon Devil Dog from Japan, which is extremely pricey, 90,000 rand. Now then, the origins of ACE. ACE was originally a combat dummy, and ACE originally stand for Advanced Combat Educator, but was repurposed for security reasons and now stand for Alarm Controlled Enforcer. Now then, fun fact, in Japan, wolves like this one has been extinct since the 1800s. Now that made you wonder, How can an animal that has never seen a wolf be scared of something that looks like a wolf? Now then, that proves my point, that if it looks scary and it sounds scary, it will deter. But you might say, well, a criminal, it's not going to fall for this type of things. But I have done my own research and with a friend from a local prison, and they have said that the main thing the criminal said, the main thing that will deter them from an area is there's someone there and the person is armed. And criminals are, no offense, especially somewhere in South Africa, criminals are superstitious and cowardly. No offense again to any criminals here, but that's what my research said. Now then, especially in a place like South Africa, criminals are extremely superstitious because, like I said, they believe in spirits, because South Africa is the 19th most haunted place in the world, where there's like ghosts, tokelosh, and witch doctors. If you ever wanted to have a spiritual ghostly tour, go to Cape Town, there's a lot of haunted places there. And I believe that ACE would work, even though if someone shoots him, because if you shoot someone, you're not going to expect them to still stand. If you shoot ACE, he's still going to stand, still going to rotate, and still going to laugh menacingly. And if you were like a criminal in the dark, and you saw that, after you shot him in the head, you're going to run. Project design. These are my sketches I have designed in my notebook. I have then had to design the frame structure, the body of Mr. Ace Cotton over there. And I had them to put out a sheet like to say, if the motion detects something, what will happen next? The track will play, what will happen next? The motor will start to move, and for how long? If it still continues motion, it will detect motion, it will still continue with the sound, with the different tracks and movement. If it detects no sound, it will immediately stop. My bill of materials, a lot of materials were provided on site at Automation. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO and Mr. Nick. And Mr. Ace was built by materials provided at Waterkloof Farms. Thank you to Waterkloof Farms, best chicken in South Africa, by the way. I have to say that because they are the sponsor of my projects. Mr. Ace is comprisely made out of old plastic bag stuffing with old clothes and a metal iron wired body with some extra rope to make sure everything doesn't fall out. As you can see, he's a very buff boy. This is the project structure model, the electronics that makes up the movement and the sound. We have the Arduino board, the motor board, the solar power converter, the battery, and the solar panel itself. Then we have the scarecrow, Mr. Ace, the wire skeleton, the plastic stuffing, and the clothes. And then we have the frame, the aluminium frame, the electrical wirings that goes through the frame, and the rope that cotton will be hanging from. Then the code. I made a couple of snapshots of the main point of code. Here you can see the ints where we then assign which pin of the Arduino board does what, whether it receives power or gives power. Here is then the stop command, where we then will tell the drone, the doll to stop or to move to side. We call it a void, where it will hold the information for us. Then later in the code, we can just call upon the void call to cause the movement of the doll. We have the music board that will create the sound. All lots of lovely codes, very easy, but still very complex to do. And this is the wiring diagram that is used to wire up ACE. We have the music board and the Arduino board combination too that will produce the music. We have the speaker right over here that produces the sound waves. We have the sensor board down here. When it detects movement, it will send through this wiring, it will send a signal that's edited something, and then the Arduino board will send a code to this and say how fast this rotor needs to run and in what direction it needs to run. And the battery will extract solar power, and it will convert the solar power here to ensure that the battery doesn't explode and overheat. Project testing, my favorite part. Modifications. I had to switch the clothes from new clothes to old clothes because 1, it was cheaper, 2, recycling. And I had to replace the straw inside with plastic stuffing here because it was extremely light. Because when straw gets wet, it gets extremely heavy. And again, using old plastic bags, recycling. The buzzer was replaced by a speaker to produce a more loudly and clearly sound, and the battery was replaced by a solar powered setup to ensure longer lasting use. Testing! I had 2 non-willing volunteers, one including my pet dog, and the other one, my sister, twice! And that was before the stuffing, before the rotation, and before the screaming. It was just like standing there menacingly. She knew that all was there, and still she came around the booth corner and oh, it was a lovely day. And let's wait first the video. Don't worry, she was well compensated with a nice juicy bone. Where's the mouse? Come on here.
There we go.
A
little bit to the
Right. Left.
Come on. There we go. There she comes. She sees. And then she notices. She comes back. There she runs away. And do not worry, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, she was well compensated with a nice juicy bone. But as you see, she is a sheepdog, which means she's a very friendly, very lovely animal. And she loves all types of humans. And when she saw that, she immediately got scared, which means that it looked human, but she was still scared. And if it can deter a dog, the descendant of the wolf, it can deter other wildlife animal species. Especially dangerous animals if they see like horrifying masks laughing menacingly. Conclusions. Technical difficulties. What I discovered mostly was the aluminium welding. We couldn't attach the aluminium plate properly. And the second problem was to find a strong enough, powerful enough DC motor that can support that weight and rotate it. My technical successes, thanks to a business right outside this very building that helped me switch the aluminium together, and thanks to Nick's help, we have managed to find a strong enough DC motor that can hoist Mr. A.C.E. and rotate him properly. Lessons learned. Coding was an extremely hard thing to master, an extremely hard challenge, but a challenge I welcomed with open arms. And I can say I have conquered. I am still a noob at coding, but with continued practice and experimentation, I believe I could become a master. And then, second thing I've learned, I never knew that a doll can scare the stuffing out of people so much. You could just hear down the hallway, you yell, what the hell? Hello. This term was lovely for me. And I have learned how to solder wires together. And the fourth thing is wiring up the device. What I believe would be a struggle, but in reality it was very easy to wire up something. If you know how to do it, it is easy. If you don't know how to do it, it looks like a challenge. So I'm glad I've taken here at automation and I have learned how to wire up and code. It was an enjoyable experience. But if someone wants to keep their hair, I do not suggest coding. It was stressful, it was painful, it was a challenge. I started to lose some hair. Now then, future improvements. We'll have to increase the frame strength. Apparently aluminium wasn't as strong enough as what I thought. That's why Mr. A.C.E. isn't hanging from his frame. Because if we hang them from the frame might actually fall over. Now we have to remove a little bit of stuffing to make him look more real, because you won't find a jacked bodybuilder in the middle of the forest, and that will make him a little bit lighter for the frame. We'll give Ace some shoes and gloves to increase the veil of illusion. We'll have to waterproof a little bit of the wiring. I forgot about rain was a thing.
Yeah, for a long time.
Especially now in the winter. And we need to increase the sound to make it much more louder so it will spread across a bigger area of territory, so that more animals could hear the scream, so that more animals will back away from Mr. Ace. Activity log. This was my time spent during this term. The theory was, when we were studying, as you could see, a log is theory because I'm a slow reader, slow writer, slow studier. But I still managed to make it. Yes. And then we have the yellow, which is the second one, the design project, where I've built on the code, on the frame, and on Mr. A.'s cotton. It was an extreme struggle because Nick, his idea of learning is like the teacher in a word book. Teacher, how do I spell this word? Go look in a word book. But how am I supposed to look up the word if I don't know how to spell the word? That's his philosophy when teaching. Just go look and find and hunt. I believe that is a very good method of learning, because if a teacher does it, you don't learn anything. I'm a strong believer in give a man a fish and he'll eat a day. Teach a man how to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. So, and when Nick tells me to go look it up, I find it, I understand it, and I put it into the code. I feel like I have accomplished something, and when you do something yourself, you remember it much more better. And then we have the tutorial projects. Is our little cars. We'll be showing you after presentation the cars we have made, which is being sold online in little kits if you want to buy your own. A lovely toy for children and for elders if you love coding and love just to show off to your friends something very interesting. Then we have personal development, where Mr. J.C. shown us, like Tani Elmi says, how to be a man, how to argument better. I have one argument with my sister, score 1 for me. And how to communicate better with people, how to manage our time better, which was a great save for me. And the next one is the exercises, where Nick have given us personal challenges to overcome with coding, where he says, make this code, or make this code, or let this, do that. And we had to do it, like example, create a code for a calculator, or create a code for a DC motor to make them go left, go right, which I have implemented in my design. Acknowledgement. Well, JC for helping me, like I said, with my social skills, making me a better person, better at speaking, and a little bit of helping with welding. Mr. Tani Elmi, which is like a second mother to me, for helping us, keeping us up to date, and thank you for the chocolate, hot chocolates, always in the classroom, very delicious. And Dick for helping me perfect the design, but like I just said, he mostly said, when I say help perfecting, he just said, go look at this, go look at that. But where am I supposed to look at? Just go look for it. But where? Just look. And thank you to my classmates, Ronaldo and Kurnan, for pointing out errors and helping me improve upon my design. And this is my poster for my design, where I have the problem statement on there, a problem description, and Mr. S.C.A.R.E, when he was finished built at my farm of Bartwell Farms. My name, what this term was about, Adreno, term 2, 2023. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the time. Any questions or comments? And before you say, I am going to as well give a quick little demonstration, and I invite everyone here, if after the presentation, to come look at this masterpiece of wiring. For someone like me, who is a new beginning at wiring, I believe I did extremely well. So there. I hope I don't get blown up again.
Do you want to read it?
Again.
Yeah.
Correct.
Do we need to move it? Now then, ladies and gentlemen, the sensor is on top here, and when it detects movement, it will send a signal to the Arduino board. The Arduino board will then send a signal that leads to the motor board, which will activate the DC motor here in the back, which will cause rotation, and it will send in a signal to the music box that will produce the scream of agony and terror. 3, 2, 1.